Car's done. I'm here to pick it up. Super low. Supercharger's dialed in. Gosh, the piping looks so clean. And there it is. 405 wheel horsepower. My Toyota header lost me 10. I think it's worth it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some spacers for this sucker, at least for the time being, until I figure out what wheels I'm gonna do. Here's my modified Toyota exhaust. So the exhaust took what, a whole day almost to do?
Probably about 5 hours.
Yeah, I thought you said it was gonna take like 2 days to do that. It would have been 2 days to make a new exhaust from scratch.
It's with two of us together on an exhaust, it takes 1 full day.
Yeah.
But if we both work in conjunction with something, we usually get it done a little faster,
right.
A little bit, you know, twice as fast.
So I'm really interested to watch your video. Make sure to go check out LHT's channel on the exhaust, the clips he did of cutting a $2,000 Toyota exhaust into pieces. Cutting and refabricating.
But if it doesn't fit, it's a $2,000 piece of art.
A piece of metal, yeah.
It has to work. If not, it's a piece of art.
I'm still shocked that, you know, it's incredible. I mean, they've had 20 years to get this right, and we've been freaking buying exhaust, and it's not even close. Yeah. So I hope they watch this video and they figure out what the heck's wrong with their design.
I think it's a manufacturing issue, and I think it's a fixture issue. I think Toyota is having a manufacturer make it for them.
Yeah.
And who knows if they're making it to the fixture Toyota sent them. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and the issue and the reason why we decided to cut it is, you know, I ordered it direct from Japan. And, you know, like the American guys, I just couldn't convince, I couldn't get them to get off, you know, to get it done. No. And so we're like, well, what do we do? Do I sit on this $2,000 exhaust, or do we modify it and make it work? And so now it's on there and it fits, and we'll be in, you know, I'm in a bit of an exhaust. I have a hard time with exhaust. I'm always looking for perfection, so we'll see. We'll see how it sounds. I'll be sure to make tons of exhaust videos, and looks clean though. It
doesn't seem to have a terrible drone. It has a little bit of a deep tone in the lower end, which all the exhausts do on these.
Yeah.
But it's not bad at all. It's very tolerable.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let me go give you all my money.
Let me describe what we've got going on here.
All right. So here's our Dyno Results from the.
This is the final run. Mm-hmm. Basically, this line going here is horsepower. This is torque this way. Yep. As you see, this is related to RPMs. We're revving the car to about 84. We can rev it to 86, 87, the way it's set up, but you're not really needing to. It doesn't make any more power. Mm-hmm. You see the horsepower is still really pulling straight up. It's coming straight up. Mm-hmm. And then right about here, it starts to go flat. Same as the torque. The torque is holding straight, and then it starts to fall off. This is where I had to pull fuel to get the air fuel correct. It would run 12 to 1 all the way through. Once I tuned it, we're at 12 to 1. Mm-hmm. And on a similar map, it would run off the scale rich once we got to about 77, 78, which I think is where the header is starting to reduce the flow.
So we're 404.
404, and it's basically making 404 by about 8,000. Anything after 8, the horsepower is plateauing, which is basically straight, and in some cases you can see a little bit it started to fall off. This is most interesting. This is something nobody seems to talk about. This is the before and after. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a little messy because you got lines all over the place. Same thing, the lines going up on an angle is horsepower. The ones that are typically going straight across is torque. So this line is stock horsepower. This line is supercharged horsepower. We're starting to pull right about 2,200 RPMs. Mm-hmm. And you can see by, let's say, 4,000 RPMs, your stock horsepower is here. It's under the 100 line. It's about 80 horsepower at 4,000 RPMs. The supercharger, we're already at 160. So 4,000 RPMs, we're already making considerable power increase. Once we get to 6, we're going from about 160 horsepower to about 275.
So there's our VTEC crossover point, right?
That's a VTEC on the factory system.
Which we're tuning out with a Hondata, right? I mean, we're
bringing this lower.
Or not. Okay, so the engagement point is...
Here's a VTEC right now, we're at 42.
Okay.
You see it still jumps up with a decent kick. You can bring this VTEC even lower. Talking to people that's built these engines and done a lot of road racing with these, if you get the VTEC changeover much below about 3,800, you can actually have a momentary loss of oil pressure because it takes oil pressure to engage the VTEC system, and momentarily you can have a slight loss of oil pressure. It's not worth the risk, and again, I'm super conservative.
So we lowered it from what, 5,800
to... We're at 58 to 42.
Gotcha.
And you see it still comes up with a jump, but we're making so much more power under the curve.
But even then, I mean, so we won't feel that cam switchover as much.
No.
But you don't really want to.
No, you don't. Pretty much when you're tuning for power everywhere, power under the curve.
Yep.
Like I say, we could drop this to 32, 33, and probably make power, but at 33, it's at a point where the car isn't building enough. Yeah, if it hasn't built enough oil pressure.
Right. I'll give up 10 horsepower for it to work.
I'm the same way. I've done this long enough. I've been on the bad end of it, meaning my own cars. I've pushed the limits and been the one sweeping up the mess. Also, seeing the disappointment on someone's face when you've run their car to the limit just to get them 10 horsepower and you blow it up. It's not a good feeling. It's not worth 10 horsepower. I don't care who you are. It's not worth upsetting someone and costing them all their hard-earned money to make them 10 horsepower.
But that looks pretty darn. That looks like a pretty darn fantastic curve there.
It really is. I mean, it's smooth as can be. We're tuning extremely safe. This is the air fuel right now. We're at the 12-to-1 line. In some of my videos, I've explained about tuning. You can make more power at 12.8, 13-to-1, but it's not worth the risk. If the temperature changes, if it gets cool, you get a cold snap, it will automatically lean itself out if you get a cold snap. So we want to stay on the richer side, so it has a bit more.
So let's say I bought the Kraftwerk kit, had them ship it to my house, and then I uploaded their flash. How much changing have you done to that tune?
Everything's changed. Yeah, their tune. This is the thing, and everybody has their own tune. It's almost like someone drawing a picture. Everyone has a different perspective on the picture. They're tuning a kit in California. Florida is a completely different climate to California. Nobody really wants to sell you a kit tuned because no one knows the condition of your car, the header that you're going to put on it, the exhaust that you're going to put on it, even the fuel. So they're not going to give you a fully tuned kit. They're going to give you a kit to put it on, start it up, and take it to a tuner. That's when most of the kits
But here's my shameless plug for LHT. I really didn't even pay you for. I mean, I paid the same price for the kit, right? I mean, that you include that all in the package.
It really is the price that I charge you. I try to keep our prices as low as we can, which is why we've got customers coming from all over the country now. We're trying to sell it to you for the price they sell the kit.
So what was the kit? The kit was $6,000, just the supercharger.
I believe I'd have to look on their site again. And again, I don't want to get into map price or anything like that with them. They have a minimum price that they have to sell it for. To convince you to come to us, I try and keep that price installed and tuned. So you're saving about $1,200, $1,300. Plus, knowing that we've done enough of them, this isn't just a plug of how cool we are. Yours is the 34th car we've done. 34th S2000 with a Kraftwerk kit.
I mean,
we must be doing something right. Either that or
I literally was. I mean, my plan was to buy this thing and bolt it on myself, and there is zero chance I would have made it through. If I did, it would have been a hack job. How much horsepower? If I just loaded it, I'd probably make what, 370, 360.
I don't know. The very first car we did, we uploaded their map. And it was enough to start the car. We couldn't really drive it out the driveway. It started to run terrible. We immediately brought it back and retuned it. And we've done that ever since. I never like to tune on somebody else's map. It's kind of like your own work. You want to tune the way you tune it. And I always offer my customers lifetime touch-ups. If the car drives funny, if it does something silly, idles funny, bring it back. We're happy to tune it. We'll tweak it and tune it for the rest of time.
Yeah, it's easy for me, but I'm just thinking, if you're in California, or if you're in Minnesota and you have an S2000, just freaking pay that $1,000 and ship it here. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I would say that just because of our experience doing it. And to be honest, I still think this is one of the most reliable kits there is, period. And this is 21 years of doing this. You've seen some of the things we do. We build our own custom turbo kits. We've built a lot of different supercharger kits. We've installed supercharger kits.
And this one is awesome.
This is, in my opinion, the most reliable.
Yeah.
For a business, it's the perfect model.
That Delta. So people were asking me about CT engineering or science of speed. I mean, this, and I think that some of the bad rap. There's a few comments on on S2KI and some of the forums about Craftworks and reliability. I just think it's 100% tune and install. The kit looks bulletproof to me.
Forums, and without trying to sound like I know everything, I don't want to come off as I'm cocky. I've been doing this a long time. Whenever you install someone else's kit, you can often see ways to improve it and ways to do the install a little bit less chance of having an issue. And I've gone on the forums and said this. I've even talked to Craftworks about it. It isn't an idiot-proof kit. The CT engineering kit is a roots blower. The Science of Speed kit is a centrifugal blower. In my opinion, it's one of the older design blowers. It's what they used on the early Mustangs and Camaros. It's still a good blower, but in my opinion, it's an older supercharger design. Rotex is much more efficient. It's smaller, lighter. Pound for pound makes horsepower, but it's not an idiot-proof kit. It's not a put in all the bolts, tighten them up, you're done. There is a sequence to putting it together, tighten everything in a certain order, and also seeing an issue before you tighten it up and let it go down the road. And
can you come show me the how we modify the intake?
Yes.
Can you talk me through that?
Yes. Feels faster than what you would imagine.
Well, it's 2,800 pounds. So my GT3 dynoed at 425 wheel horsepower. Now, it's a little light in that we were driving the front wheels, so the drivetrain loss is a little different. So my GT3 is 3,200 pounds, so it's probably making 450, 460 wheel horsepower. This is 2,800 pounds and now making 405. This thing is going to be a freaking monster.
This is going to feel extremely fast. It's not going to be as quick as your Porsche for a few reasons. One, I think your Porsche has the PDK transmission.
Yeah.
The shifting aspect is a game changer. Look at the GTR. The GTR beats cars its same weight with more horsepower, basically because of its unique shift, and it shifts fast. But pound for power, this car is going to feel, in my opinion, it's going to feel as quick as your Porsche.
Well, I'm going to line them up and race them. We'll see. From a roll, we'll do it from a roll, because from a dig, forget it.
Yeah, it's a different story.
All right, so if you guys have seen pictures of the Craftworks supercharger kit, it doesn't look the same as this. So tell me what's different about how this is installed.
A few things that we change based on their instructions, and again, this is just the way we like to do things. When we're done with a build, we always step back and critique our own work. It's kind of a constant improvement, constant evolving thing. Anyway, their tube here, and again, it's a manufactured piece that they're making for all the cars. This tube here that they build has the sensor coming out of here, which is the air temp sensor.
So you guys saw in the previous video, you saw me, I was videoing you, cutting that off and
built a new one.
Yeah.
Well, your car, the air intake sensor is in your snorkel here. On the AP1 2000 through 2005, the sensor is in here. So they ship you a kit that has the provisions to put the sensor in here. If you don't need it, it has a plug that goes in there. Either way, when you look at it aesthetically, I don't like the look. It has a piece coming out with a wire. It just looks a little messy. So we rebuild this. Your sensor is under here. That's where my fingers is.
Yep.
You just pointed that. That's where the sensor is. So we just remake that.
That's the mass airflow sensor?
No, this car doesn't have a mass air. This is intake air temp sensor.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This car's speed density. This is the air intake sensor. The factory kit also, this is the elbow. This filter directly fastens on here and angles this way. This makes a turn and the filter sits here. Two reasons I don't like it. This is very similar to a K&N style filter. It has the metal with the gauze. This is very abrasive. When it sits here, it usually rubs on this tube here, rubs on this here, and rubs the fan. And again, 10,000 miles down the road, you'll see that this has damage on it and all this. Plus, right behind the radiator and fans, it's a very hot area that the blower is ingesting air. Over here, we have a hole behind here. This is a cooler area than here. And again, aesthetically, which, whether it makes power or not, aesthetically, to me, it looks balanced. Filters on this side, the intake tubes on this side. You got the reservoir over here. It just kind of looks balanced. And again, we all have our degree of OCD.
Yeah.
The more you're into something, the more you start looking and critique it. Also, the way we route our hoses for the supercharger. This is the reservoir. We've talked about this on one of your videos. This is what holds the fluid. The supercharger itself is its own built-in pump. It pulls the fluid from here, runs through its own circulated system. It has its built-in filter, and it has the cooler on the outside of the car. The kit, I think, tells you to put the filter here. We relocate the filter in a cleaner area.
You move the horn.
We move the horn, so we have an area for this. And again, it looks cleaner. The filter is easy to access when you take the intake off. But you don't change it for 40,000 miles, same with the fluid. And again, it's just little changes that we've done to the kit. Some of the issues that people are having, and again, it blows my mind why some of these guys are having these issues. I keep seeing on the forums people breaking the VTEC bolts. The VTEC, this is the VTEC solenoid is spaced out, and part of the location bracket is this here.
Yeah.
So they give you this bracket, so the VTEC system bolts back on here, and this is one of the support brackets, as well as this here, and there's obviously some mounting lower down. I'm not going to give you our tricks because, again, that's why we want you to come to us. And it's also ours and many kits and the learning curve. It's where we've got to where we are. It's kind of like asking Coca-Cola, how do you make your Coke? I want to build it at home. It's like torquing on a wheel. If you get one bolt, tighten it all the way down, then get to the next one, tighten it all the way down, it's not going to be torqued down correctly. It's not going to be perfect flush. So when we install this, we have our own technique of lining all the bolts up, getting everything where it's situated before we start cranking down. In the instructions, it doesn't give you a...
No, that's why you distracted me when George was in there putting that on, so I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, we was trying to cover you up. We were that over there, just blocking. So, again, it's just, it's tricks of the trade. It's also learning from many kits we've done.
Yeah.
The very first kit we did, I'll be honest, we put it on, took it to the dyno, it broke the belt in the dyno. And we're scratching our heads like, well, what the hell did we do?
Right.
Well, it wasn't until we took it off and then realized some of the issues that we'd run into. Craftworks sent us a new belt, no questions asked. We put it back on, not a problem since then. And 34 kits later, to my knowledge, I try and stay in touch with my customer. We've broken 2 belts. The first one was our screw up. We admitted it. Again, it was a learning curve. It was the first hogged belt we've done. The second one, I don't know what happened, but out of 34 cars, 1 broken belt legit. Yeah. It's pretty good odds.
So then, so that's what we did on the hood. Now the strut tower brace doesn't fit, right? Because of the
This is such a large pipe on this. This is a 3-inch pipe.
Yep.
And for it to come across here, it's literally pushing down on here.
They don't really do anything anyway, but it looks cool.
It does. It looks cool.
Yeah.
Talking of cool, the master cylinder brace you had on here was our
oh shoot! I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
The original one. Keep filming. I want to show you a quick history of the master cylinder brace.
Wow, that looks fantastic.
We made some master cylinder braces originally for the Integras. So this is some of the prototypes. This is stuff that I dug up. This is one of the first ones we started to make.
I don't understand. What does this even do? Help me with that.
Fancy under the hood.
Yeah, I didn't even care if it does anything. I think it looks great.
It looks good, and it's billing.
No,
so
seriously, what does it do?
Again, if you tune into our channel, we did a little brief video showing you how much that flexes. When you press on the brake heavy, you're actually getting deflection in the firewall. The master cylinder is actually deflecting. So some of the sponginess you feel is from that actually moving. This, all we're doing is stopping that moving.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this won't come forward.
It doesn't, yeah.
It'll stay fixed.
We have an S2000 over here. We'll jump in that here in a second. I'll get George, which is,
oh, you can actually see it.
You'll see it move. I'll get George in there. Real quick, this was the template. This was the very first one I made by hand, and I made it for my S2000 back in 2009. This was one of the first production, which is from here.
Yep.
Then from there, we've gone through this is the thinner one, so we can put a strut tower brace.
Yep.
This is our version 3. We changed it to this one because it's much prettier.
It's and most superchargers you can't do a strut tower brace anyway. So.
Exactly. So this one's much prettier. It's billet aluminum. It's anodized black.
Right.
It matches your battery tie over there.
Yeah, I like matching sets. That's my thing.
I am too. Like I say, when we talked on the phone, the OCD is kind of it's more of a one and better. Once you've done this for a while, there's certain things that you can't.
We talked about this a lot in the video the previously, is just form and function. You know, I want it to function, but form is important to me too. You know, I love that there's a certain sense of beauty in this design and how this looks. And I love the fact that you guys modify the original design in order to, one, it makes it more functional, but the form is better.
Yeah.
And even something as cool as just seeing the intercooler up in there. Imagine that coming up on your rear bumper. You see that in the car, you know something's up.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Before he touches anything, watch this area and just look at it, the relation between these two. I want to get out the shadow here. So when he pumps the brake,
oh yeah,
you see that?
Yeah.
We measured it, and I think it was about, on some cars, we saw
Do it again.
about 3/16 of an inch.
Oh yeah. Now imagine it's hot. The rubber lines are all expanded.
Everything all adds up, yeah.
Yeah.
The master cylinder, I found, and again, feedback from the people that has used it, said it's more noticeable than stainless steel brake lines. And stainless steel brake lines give it a little bit of a feel.
Yeah.
Not as much on your car because it's such a new, low mileage car. The rubber's still, you know, new. Everything hasn't expanded, but you still get a little bit of feel from stainless lines. This is noticeably different.
That's cool. All right, so we did, suspension, how did those, like the roll center adjusters, how'd that all do on alignment? I mean,
they said on the alignment they couldn't get enough camber in the rear. The front came out absolutely perfect. What we did is we got the max on one side of the camber and matched the other one, matched it basically. And I think we were about 2.5 degrees negative. And it's just because the car is so low. I mean, we got it to the height that you wanted it, which is lower than we would typically go, so it doesn't have enough adjustment.
Well, I'll probably have to go up if I do wider wheels.
Yeah, but the front came out absolutely on the specs. The back, they couldn't get enough camber out of it, even maxed out. What they did is they brought one out to the max and then matched it, just so it handles straight.
Right. So here's all my original gear. They put the seat rail in. Everything's dialed. So there's the stock exhaust. You can see the CR exhaust is black, a little different design. Anyway, all we have left to do is pay, and I'll give everybody a rundown on what this stuff costs.
Yeah, we
we'll
did your clutch master's clutch.
Oh yeah.
Remember, we did the billet flywheel, so the flywheel is lighter, so you'll notice it will, upper RPMs, it will shift faster. It'll be easier to shift because the RPMs come down faster on the lighter flywheel. And of course, it's more responsive throttle-wise.
Have you guys used, because a big, really commonly used clutch on this is like the ACT, and then they do like an OEM Honda light and flywheel or something. You see lots of talk about that. So
we've done almost everybody's clutch, and as I've always told people, go with what you like, go with what you trust. One of the packages is the ACT pressure plate and an OEM disc, and we use some of that on a couple of cars. We've tried it. It works. There's nothing to take away from it. What I don't like is the actual pedal pressure. To increase the clamping load, what they do is they jack up the springs on the pressure plate so it has more clamping ability. The problem is, there is, my opinion, and again, this isn't fact, this is my opinion, there is more stress on your hydraulic system. Most of the cars coming in with 50, 60, 70,000 miles, they need master cylinders that are blown out and seals are blown. Well, putting more stress on that, in my opinion, is going to increase the hydraulic system failure. Not to mention the side load on the crank, you get more pressure on the crank. This clutch, one of our videos I showed pushing the clutch down with 2 fingers. In fact, come to this, let's do a live demonstration right now. And I tell people, do this with your ACT clutch. It's dark in there, I don't even know if you see it.
I can see.
Well, watch this. 2 fingers. I'm not even straining.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in traffic Or let's say your girl wants to drive the car. If the clutch is so hard to push down, she's going to hate it. Not necessarily a bad thing, because you don't want anybody else driving the car. But when you're driving a car, if it's effort to drive, it becomes annoying.
Yeah, I don't like annoying. I like functional.
As I've found, if something annoys you a little bit, it seems to grow on you and grow on you to a point where you don't enjoy driving the car. I'm OCD in my own way.
So when people are, you know, just to give you guys some cue, everything in this car we've thought through. This isn't like oh, we just threw a clutch in it or put a suspension in, and I thought through all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, pulling from John's expertise. You know, there's a reason why we did that clutch. There's a reason why we did this supercharger. There's a reason why I did the suspension, and then there'll be a reason why what we do to phase 2. And some I've been able to pull from you guys to not make as many mistakes as I normally do with you know, with a build on a car.
We've all done that too.
Yep.
We've learned a lot over the years. We still build custom turbo kits for a lot of cars. In fact, we've got some of the parts that just came in over here. We have a custom turbo kit we're building. And to be honest, we make more money on custom turbo kits because you're paying us by the hour to build, fabricate, and assemble. We do make more money on it, but for a true daily driver or a car that's going to go across the country, this is my favorite package. We don't make anywhere near as much profit if you see our prices compared to what you can buy it for. And even shop my competition, you'll find that we're pretty inexpensive. But this is a perfect business model. We bolt it on, it makes power, the customer loves it, it takes his friend for a ride, it races his friend, whatever. He wants one, the word spreads. The car is a rolling business card, it brings in work.
And you don't have warranty claims.
And again, it's so minimal issues we've had.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
The OEM like.
It really is.
Well, thanks guys. I appreciate you taking me on short notice and taking a whole week and building this car all in one spot and doing some funky crap like cutting up my Toyota exhaust and using all the parts that I showed up with, like the Olin suspension and things like that. So, and then of course for turning me onto this car. Yeah, this thing is going to be awesome, I think.
There's something else in our video that I'm not going to tell you about, Matt, but you're going to have to watch my video. And I joked in the video, when you watch the video, you're going to pause it, you're going to go out to the car and go see it yourself. Okay. I'm not going to tell you, but I just kind of said that in the video. So
Alright, I'll check it out.
It'll be a surprise.
Anyway, thanks guys. George, appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
Go check out LHT's channel.
Thank you.
What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor.